gets surprised when I tell him there's only one core left. I shouldn't have believed it either. Behold, the Pantheon. We track the final core beyond the city to the wilds. The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the Calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. You know what's better than having a slinger pistol in a fight? Having two. Savage things lurking at every turn. Pincushions ain't the worst of it either. He's faster than a slinger with those guns. Pecker's got the core, like they're building a Bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. They shouldn't have let their guard down. Core's right there, itching to come home. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him go without a fight. Wallflowers survived the Calamity. It toughened him up. Best take it real slow. Pincushions are afoot. Don't ever turn your back on a pincushion. A handful of windbag shipments made it out this far. The kid's seen the last of them. Slinger Jawson's old outpost is all that's left of him. Kid sticks to his old standbys. Kid's roused up half the wild by now. by a lunkhead. And lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Hit him anywhere but the hindquarters and he only make him mad. He's got more needles in him than a stab weed. Hardly any signs of the old Jocelyn camp. Wild green vine apples about the only good thing out here. The wilds already reclaimed this place. He's anxious to get back. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. Zolf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me, said he was going home. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped. Started smashing up the monument until I tried to stop him. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put it back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. Takes a lot of moving pieces to make a dependable sidearm. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. Ever felt a Zolwood gourd like picking up broken glass barehanded? At Zolwood Grove, marshals learned to make every shot count. The trick was to pop all those nasty gourds without wasting ammo. Had to catch blast you a bunch of those gourds in a single shot. Funny thing about muskets is they work best up close. They kept on training until they mastered those muskets. Marshals did more than just stand around shooting, of course. You have to think fast to survive the wilds, and none thought faster than the slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine. They knew just when to start shooting and when to stop. Those pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger. Learning to hold your fire could be its own challenge. Faster. Well, even the slingers weren't quick enough to escape the calamity. Want to stay alive in the wilds? Pack a pair of pistols and a good blade. After Zolf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Jawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. The dead welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. Kid can't fall, no matter how hard he tries. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. Say to a kid who's seen too much. I'm Zolf, Ligura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, pumpkins, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. There's no way out. Now the Bastion can send them even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Ceylondia's famous watering holes. The security's just he has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a real thief. There is no way out. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good, for all I know. Wherever he is, somewhere I never been. Somewhere I never want to go. survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. Bastion can send them even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Ceylondia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a petty thief. Succeeds where the calamity fails. Would you look at what he did to poor old Ronnie the bartender? Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. Kid can't fall, no matter how hard he tries. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of Piff, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. He's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Disgusting things. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. The breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. Kid ain't about to be playing food just yet. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, a kid prunes it down to size somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. Party punch is so zesty, it'll let you carry on through the worst of times. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Finders keepers. Hensa, a Kobe. The gods never liked competing for people's affections. That ought to give those dueling pistols a little extra kick. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. The city's unwanted things all met their end in the yard. Folks who fouled up will do their time here, smashing things to bits. The quicker they work, the sooner they can go. Folks learn to plant their feet and put their backs into it. fast for the finest prize. Ever want to just smash things for a while? You know where to go. Ain't never letting go of his old friend with a sturdy grip like that. A pair of slinger pistols is just the ticket if a hammer's too slow. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothus Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts what don't know up from down, still lurking about. That's ankle gator country for you. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? A stinkweed. Ain't time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. Can't get hasty in a place like this. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. Brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Those pincushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass, and he's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. Still no sign of the shard. Kid's got a mean throwing arm. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. Those leaping lunkheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. That old gator's right on his tail. They make a tasty snack. Scared a bunch of peckers out of height. Rotha's Lagoon. That ain't the sort of place you'd want to go by choice. Many a tale folks use to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts who don't know up from down, still looking about. Can't get hasty in a place like this. These beasts, they don't like company. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? Stinkweed. Ain't time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. The brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Bad idea to walk in gator grass. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Kid's got a mean throwing arm. Those pincushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass is Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. Still no sign of the shard. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. That old gator's right on his tail. That's ankle gator country for you. Queen's got one mean bite. Scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? They use a kid as bait. The shard's sitting in plain view. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. She's starting to get annoyed. kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard, but you know what? It was worth it. That Gator's a crazy gal, but so is the gal who promised to look after her. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. He's a spitting image of Slinger Jawson with that pike and them pistols. To fix a brusher's pike, you just need a good length of knife bark. They moved in shadows, but the calamity found them. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. To prepare for the wilds, Ceylonia's brushers practice at Camp Duncy. Had to navigate a maze of pincushions with nothing but a pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Sometimes the course was brutal. Health tonics were off limits at Camp Duncy. They said they made you weak. Rules said he couldn't use any fancy footwork, just your brains and your pipe. Just getting through the course in one piece was an accomplishment. You can see why the brushers prize those pikes of theirs. Don't want that thing leaving your hands until you decide it's time. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. The army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The Grand Rail of Point Lemaine, not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides, alloys, and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. All grown over with things Calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. You don't let so much as one of those things slip by. Heads settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers, coughing fungus everywhere. Only one way to cure a cough like that. Not much wiggle room compared to the rail. Of course, the Grand Rail's seen much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Caelondian War. place used to be closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. It was right here that Zolf's forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Imagine if Kid never... Few places steeped in history and sweat so much as this. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The Army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The Grand Rail of Point Lemaine, not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give a kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand Rail's all grown over with things of calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid don't let so much as one of those things slip by. Settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers, coffin, fungus everywhere. closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. Of course, the Grand Rail's seen much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Ura-Serpentine War. It was right here that Zulf's Ura forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store. All the rotten wood there on the rail turned it into Swampweed Central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While choking on swampweed? Hackers trying to prick you in the eye? Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. Swampweed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first he thinks it's Zulf. Turns out he's wrong. This is for you, says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. The kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wondered just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Celandia. Her folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. Mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Her father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Her father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the mancers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts, learned more through music than history books, gained a knack for strings and songs. First, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. The young man convinced her to take him to her family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult. It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals. They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal. Succeeded, but the authorities were already there when that scumbag sidled up to the city walls. The young man had sent the authorities a tip, told him her father was using her to sell secrets to the Tassel terminals. She and her father were arrested for treason, but her father got a deal. Returned to work for the Mansers, and she'd go free. Before they parted ways for the last time, her father whispered a desperate plea. Hurry home to the den and lock yourself in. She was told, and deep down underground inside that den, she found a journal written in her father's hand.
Gonna build that city on a hill. Gonna build that city on a hill. Someday those tears are gonna spill. So be that.
The next day, the door to the den turned to ash. The girl came up for air, and she saw the calamity all around her. When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way he left it. to unlock the potential of this place. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. The shards are getting harder to find. Not everything blew up in the calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. Best to keep out of the cauldron. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. Can't fault our people for their natural curiosity now, can you? Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. Taste the air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. Kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. The place is inhospitable as they come. Still, we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Culford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Jawson Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Pops open on him like a pimple on a school day. And where there's one stink eye, there's always more. Cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. The kid don't shed any tears for him. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But fire's died out. There's nothing left of it. He comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Been meaning to put up some guardrails. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. The Brushers were Caelondia's field agents, and their training was harsh. You had to find a path through the maze as quick as you could. One well-placed throw could take out several of those ugly critters. Once you started the course, they made you finish. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. Can't rightly call Mount Zand a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved leftovers. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. Creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. But they ain't yet prepared for any company. They even dragged their children into this. Without a doubt, the situation stinks. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. There's only one kind of mercy left these days. Look at it this way, it's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. What the city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. It's a delicate situation. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. Fixed that thing right up, didn't we? Made these goings-on a little livelier. Suppose it's true a little song can put things in perspective. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. Seems the gods recommended this place to all their friends. Garmouth. Last thing the gods are gonna do is make our lives easier. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? Imagine everything you'd need to build a city like Caelondia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes burstone quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. We bought the whole place from the Ura on the cheap. Same goes for its natives, rattletails. Why would the Ura put up with those pests? Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see, nested in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. those windbags, the quarry might not have its special qualities. Even stink eyes started taking root in here. Hard times in the quarry these days. Windbags tended to the rocks, so we had to keep the rattletails at bay. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Just takes three things to build the greatest city in the world. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes Bastion quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. Same goes for its natives, rattletails. Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nested in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. They're recording everything, all the time, taking it all in. No wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The rocks were calling them. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Might be the gods told them the quarry's bad news. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen. The largest ones, you know as cores. A single core could keep the lights on in an entire city district. The smaller ones, we call them shards. The shards got a fraction of the core's power, enough to fuel a voyage to Longplay. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to Colin, Sir Lunky. Massive things stomped many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. The only thing harder than the rocks burst in the quarry is Sir Lunky's head. You never could get stubborn old Lunky to leave the quarry alone. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. It's him. "I've come to warn you," he says. "The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back." Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you. Because my countrymen will." Say what you will about Zulf, but he's a man of his word. His countrymen don't much care for pleasantries, though. Zulf showed him the way here, and here they came to take revenge. They got inside the Bastion and shut the door. Kid's gotta go in through the back. I should have told him sooner about all this. Unfortunately, they broke in. And they started digging their hole. Something wrong sprung out of those holes, and it's eating away at this place. We tried to stop them. Somehow, some way, he sends those are a pack tracking. Problem is, it didn't matter. Zulf's plan worked. We find each other as the dust settles. Then I tell him why the Ura came. To get us back. For the Calamity. It was Caelondia's master plan to wipe the Ura out. But part of that plan backfired, didn't it? If only Zulf knew the whole story. What were we to think? They must have got her, taken her back to her rightful home. The shards can put this disease in remission, but there's only one cure. We need to finish what we started. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. Now all we need is one last shard. The Ura swooped down from the east. At least now we know the way. One last shard. It's all we need to put this mess behind us. And mother, what a mess it is. A mess like that could have only been made by hand. Zulf said the Calamity failed, and he's right. The Ura stand as living proof of that. Never wanted to go to war again. Wanted to rule it out. We put a lot of folks against that problem. Scientists, soldiers, spies, even me. We sought solutions far beyond the city. We traveled near as far as the kid's going right now. Most of our efforts didn't bear fruit. Then there was a breakthrough, but it didn't come from one of our people. It came from an Ura, a brilliant young scientist named Ven. Ven worked for the Mancers, the sharpest knives in the city's drawer. With his help, the Mancers devised a way to seal the Ura tunnel shut in a flash. Just like that, every last Ura living in the Tassel terminals will be gone. This discovery was never to be used, they said, except as a last resort. But Ven didn't like being manipulated. He had plans of his own. He sabotaged the Mancer's little science project. Set it to blow up in their faces. Imagine how Ven must have felt when they finally made him pull that trigger. But remember, the Bastion can fix everything. We just need that shard. Too bad the Ura ain't exactly been willing to collaborate on that front. Kid had little choice but to pick up where the Calamity left off. First things first, though, there's someone we figured needed rescuing. Zia. The Ura fell back, no doubt planning the next move. But we knew ours already. What else is there to say? When you've got a solid balance, you've got what you need. There's something we had to do before going after that last shard. Well, now it's personal, ain't it? It's personal for him, and it's personal for me. They never saw him coming. He gets his hands on the care package I sent him. It's a little something I've been fixing up in my spare time. found a way to keep the calamity from spreading through Sultan's Hollow. Kid has to put a damper on their plans. They got their own security and everything. Pretty fancy. They've got these conductors that are all what's keeping the place together. Break enough of those things and the calamity rocks slink back into the ground. Those rocks are like tumors, the same kind the Ura planted in the Bastion. Well, the Ura must be in a panic right about now. They even sick their little rattletail pets on the kid. Those rodents are just a bump in the road. By now, every Ura from here to the terminals must know he's in town. Most of the Ura's conductors are squared away in the middle of the hollow. Those calamity rocks must be eating that place apart from the inside. The Ura keep hanging on to that barricade. After all, their homeland's not much farther. Some of them are downright bewildered by what's happening. Maybe they know they've lost this, lost to a kid. They underestimated us. Past pay gone wrong. Yes, our people caused the calamity, but here we are trying to fix it. That makes us different from our people now, don't it? Suppose old Zolf should have got to know us better. Maybe I should have trusted him, told him everything I knew. the hour grows desperate, the Ura bring out their big guns. There's nothing standing in his way no more. He sees the Tassel terminals loom large on the horizon. Way out there on the edge of the world, that's where he finally finds you. But it ain't like Prosper Bluff this time. Ain't nothing for the scout to sing about now. Zia, you weren't kidnapped. No, ma'am. You just had to see what happened to the Ura. To your own people. You had to see if everything Zulf wrote to you was true. Sure you didn't drop that twangy thing on purpose? Just to see if he'd go after you? They lost everything, didn't they? But they just keep on fighting like that's gonna bring it all back. I don't need to see what happened to the Ura. I'm trying to undo it, remember? Long reach and plenty of power. Now that's a scary combination. Once the kid gets that last shard from Zulf, it'll all be over. I can't hear him at all anymore. He's too far away. But he'll be all right. Just needs to get that shard from Zulf and come on home. The calamity hit the Tassel terminals hardest of all. You know why Zulf went back there. The place was his home. All his old friends and family were there. Taken by the calamity. Zulf must be there all alone, just waiting. You know what's funny? Well, all of us are waiting for a kid. There's not much left to do here in the Bastion, I'm afraid. So why not tell each other stories to pass the time, right? But Zia, there's another reason I've been telling you all this. When the kid brings back that shard, the Bastion will be complete. result will no longer matter. Zealandia will be whole again. Everything will be back to normal. Everyone will be all right. Problem is, we'll all be gone. Oh, we're not gonna die. It's more like all of this will just stop. Things will go back to the way they used to be. That's the power of the Bastion. This whole place is a living record of the times before the calamity, the way things were before this story. Be your old self again. Think of all those times that didn't go your way. Little setbacks. Imagine if you could have another go at them. No mistakes. Anyone you've ever heard. Everything you've ever done, you could do it over. And wouldn't that be grand? Well, I guess there's nothing more to say. Marasim. Come on, keep your chin up. Who am I kidding? Look, there's something else. A confession. How come I know so much about the Bastion? Well, I designed the place, but that's beside the point. There's one problem with a place that sets things back to a bygone time. Can't test it. So your Probably wondering if the calamity happened already. What's to stop it from happening again after the Bastion does its thing? The answer is... I don't know. You're wondering if there ain't some other way out of this mess. It's alright. I can tell. But why would you even want another way? Unless you wanted to stay here with us. Well, that's sweet and all, but I don't know if I can stick around. The weight of the calamity, it's on our shoulders. We can't just let it go. Bastion does have another function, strictly speaking. If ever the monument blew out and we couldn't repair it, we could still evacuate. First, we'd round up as many folks as we could carry. Next, we'd detonate the cores and we'd take off away from here. Heavy, ain't it? Of course, that would mean no going back. Ever. But then again, that way all of us could leave the city. Together. You know Zolf and his countrymen won't be giving up that shard without a fight, don't you? Zolf and the Ura, all they want now is to see the Bastion fall. Zolf dedicated his life to lasting peace between the Ura and Zealandia. city would try to wipe the Ura out. Zolf ain't lost every shred of decency though, has he? He tried to warn you about his plans. He tried to warn the kid. Zolf, this ain't a personal matter. Such a shame. That's life. One thing's for sure. The Ura can't be happy that the kid followed Zolf all the way home. I can see it now. The kid in one corner, and Zolf in the other. Ain't much of a fight. Don't you worry, though. Once the Bastion's restored, it'll all be alright. You ain't still thinking about that whole leaving the city thing, are you?
I'm coming home, sweet home. I see your star, you left it burning for me. Mother, I'm here. Eyes open wide, feel your heart and it's glowing.
Kid's probably dealt with Zolf by now.
I'm welcome home.
He reminds me of myself when I was his age. I ever tell you about those days? Get up, kid. Come on, that ain't funny. I say get up. That's more like it. Now, set that shard into the monument there. Then we'll talk. The Bastion. It's finally finished. Now, there's something I want you to see. Welcome to the heart of the Bastion. I ain't one for long goodbyes, so here's the deal. Zia and I figure you done the heavy lifting, so you get to do the honors. We can tell you how to work this thing if you got any questions.
You made it. So, let's see. You can either prevent the calamity, or stick around with me and Rex. I'd hate to be in your shoes. If I could be any place I wanted, I'd stay right here. We could go anywhere in the world. Zulf tried to talk me into joining him. I tried to talk him out of it. I guess we both failed. Any moment I'd want to live again happened after the calamity, not before.
Hey, kid. You can undo the calamity here and now. Go on, kid. And before I forget, thank you. Always wondered what the motherland was like. Not that it matters anymore. You've got one thing left to do, so you hang on to that badge. Besides, you earned it. Don't let anything you've done get to you. You can save all those creatures here and now. It's finished. Nah, sit tight. It'll be over soon. No matter what happens next, you're done good. I suppose all that's left is to try and remember this moment. The Bastion's gonna take us back to a better time. Before any of this. Might be we'll forget everything we've done. And each other. Though after all we've been through, I find that hard to believe. So long, kid. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Zealandia, we're coming home.
I set my sail, fly the wind, it will take me back to my home, sweet home. Lie on my back, climb to make it wait for me. I'm coming